Um, and to further the point that it's actually your fault for needing oil and gas, which is not easy to secure and comes with a lot of, as we see in Iraq and other places, a lot of fighting and uh, corruption, which American media always tries to, before elections, turn around and uh, accuse someone else of. It's actually funny today that the whole Biden family was sanctioned by Putin. That family is actually, it's that family actually who's needing to be sanctioned for stealing money through Zelensky, stealing money through Ukraine, and coming out and giving these fake speeches every single day, these fake bullshit speeches about giving billions of dollars in aid to Ukraine. They're not giving billions of dollars in aid to Ukraine. They're keeping it for themselves and the defense contractors. The stuff that they give Ukraine costs $2. The people that are leaving Ukraine are going to places because of a lack of defense. The money that the big lie is that they are the limited few, the elite, and that's not the big lie. But the whole point that we're all missing here, and the news is not talking about, is that Joe Biden's son is being sanctioned for taking money from Ukraine and running to and living in the USA like he's a king. And giving speeches all day long about democracy. And so is Joe Biden, so is Jill Biden, so is Kamala Harris. They're all taking money from Ukraine. And they're telling you, they told you, and they didn't think Putin would catch them on the bullshit. They didn't think he would hit them in Ukraine before they got a chance to use nuclear weapons against them. Is that legal for Joe Biden to keep the world relying on oil and war and creating refugees? Is that legal? Just so he can make himself and his kids a millionaire or a billionaire? When there's solutions in Africa that can give the whole world reliable energy for homes and heating and electricity? No, it's not legal. And it's wasting everybody's energy. It's wasting everybody's time. We could be doing great. Look at America. Look at how much emptiness. Look at what coronavirus has done in America. Look at what coronavirus has done everywhere. There's nothing but poverty and crime now everywhere. And people like Trump are sitting on the sidelines cheering for Vladimir Putin, and then saying, and doing it as Americans. Be brave. Do it without being Americans. Your country is just full of corruption. It's full of corruption. Trump is no less better than Joe Biden. He's going to come and still want oil contracts and gas contracts. The only solution is to be off of oil and gas, to live clean. Government is not needed for corruption, which is the only thing not just Trump's, but the only thing that the Bidens are known for. Only thing that the Bushes and the Cheneys and the whole establishment that Trump supposedly had to fight to beat are known for. The whole USA needs to be changed into a country that doesn't believe in wars and fighting and oil and capitalism as much as they do today. Fighting, you should, it's you should have already fought many countries that deny people human rights and freedoms, so that nobody has to live in a lack of freedom while you sit every day and talk about how great freedom is. But you don't. And then you secretly tell people in Europe, in countries in Europe, that you want to make them rich. And then you end up seeing a smarter leader beat you. America is really getting beaten. The talk shows are all beaten. CNN is getting beaten. Fox News is getting beaten. MSNBC is getting beaten. They're all getting beaten. Why? Because of how corrupt the establishment is, and how little they can talk about doing things like getting off of oil and gas. How little they can do things like talk the reality about how we don't need to even have one one U.S. troop in Europe. There wasn't a threat from Russia before this happened. If the whole world, except for if the whole world from Europe and USA got off of oil and gas, Russia and China and Iran wouldn't attack. I mean, nobody would have attacked Iraq in the first place. Nobody would have attacked, and nobody would sit around and hope that Ukraine is going to host NATO troops, because obviously Russians aren't looking to just invade the entire continent of Europe for any reason. They're doing it to secure oil and gas from people like the Bidens. It's a very tricky game. That's my perspective. Oil and gas is the reason this is all happening. Africa has all the clean, renewable energy that people need, that the whole world needs, and it could be done free. And instead of having mafia families run the energy, run the world's energy, and create socialism at the same time and war at the same time. Anyway, I mean, the Trumps could come back, and everything. I guess the sneaky banking would end. So Biden's in a tough place right now. Biden and Kamala Harris, they're both at the lowest. I think at the lowest point in in polling in America's history, and they think they've beaten everybody. But I think Trump might come back and destroy all their dreams again. The USA really is in a state of I don't know, in a state of something. Ukraine is in a state of something. Why isn't the USA doing anything? Why isn't anybody calling Biden out for any of this? Why isn't anybody calling Trump out for any of this? Why isn't anybody talking about why Kamala Harris has to raise $1 billion to run for president, to become a president? Why do people in America have to raise billions of dollars and then shut out the rest of the world? And why do we pretend like the presidents and the people on TV are the only thing that exists? Why is this coronavirus making everybody feel that way? It shouldn't be. They're not.